Hello and welcome into the Wall Splat Weekly. We got Fox Talks with you once again. Today we have a very special guest to me, NYC Tekken's own Helst, brought with the usual Fox Miss Prime. How are you doing today, Helst?
Pretty good. It's a nice, nearly 11 in the morning. Had my coffee, had my breakfast. I'm feeling good. It's the beginning of the week, so I hope everyone has a wonderful week coming up here.
Hey,
Yes, sir. You know what it is.
yes
You
sir. It's
know,
Big Monday. It's a big
another
Monday.
another Wall Splat Weekly with the boys. We got Helst. I'm not gonna lie, Helst. I've confused you for somebody else before, and it's been kind of funny. It was
White dude
another.
with the beard, man. There's dozens of us.
It's more of the logo that you use. I've confused him. He's another TO at EVO. Forgot what his name is, but he basically looks like you. He looks like a more tired you.
I'm more tired. That's
That's impressive
crazy.
that
More
you know.
tired,
I
Helst?
think you're more tired than me. That's impressive.
Hey man, TOing ain't easy, man, and I'm pretty sure you'll get into that as we go through this wall splat today.
Absolutely. Tia, listen, if someone's more tired than me, kudos to them. They got to be something crazy because I already just actually before this, I told Fox just exactly how much stuff I'm working on right now, and I'm like, I'm so tired, man.
Yeah, it's really insane. We brought you here because we want to really focus on locals. We want to focus on the grassroots. We want to focus on the nitty gritties, the people behind the scenes. And at first, when we started doing these, I was like, it'd be a good idea to get some big players and stuff like that. But Loki, like the players are always in the spotlight. So why don't we put the people that deserve the spotlight in the spotlight? So we had Brandometry last 2 weeks ago from NYC, excuse me, North Carolina. I put the letters together in my head, a little bit
There's
dyslexic.
definitely an N and a C in there somewhere.
Yeah, there's an N and a C in there somewhere. And so having you here today for, getting the ability to talk to NYC Tekken, I'm super excited about. So give us the intro, man. Where is the beginnings of Helst as a person that discovers the FGC?
So the funny thing is, people don't understand, and I talked about this little when I did TNS last week, because I was giving upstate New York a lot of love. People don't realize I'm not from New York City. I wasn't born and raised here.
Same.
I'm from upstate New York. I'm from Syracuse, New York, which is closer to Buffalo, where Joey Fury and Mac and them are, than it is the Brooklyn or Manhattan. So I loved going to arcades growing up. My dad would take me and my brother. Shout out to the cab Lucky and Wild by Konami. If you know, you know. It was a driving slash like light gun game that one person drove and shoot, the other person just shoot. My dad would drive and let me and my brother shoot, and that was really like my love of just arcades in general because
Okay.
it was so much more involved than like playing, your Sega Genesis or your N64 at home. The graphics were crazier. You had light guns, you had fighting games, you had DDR. There was just like the creativity was way higher in my opinion back in that time, and to a degree, kind of still is because you can create these peripherals and do these things. And by going to the arcade in Syracuse a lot, shout out to Buttons, rest in peace, and shout out to Cyber Center, rest in peace. If you Syracuse guys know, I would go to the arcades and I'd get a couple bucks from my dad in quarters, and I would just go play games while he would just do whatever in the mall, or my brother-in-law would take me. And my first fighting game was not Tekken; it was Soul Calibur.
Of course.
And
Okay.
I loved it because like the characters were really cool and they had these big weapons and it was
Which
real
Soul Calibur?
dramatic. Soul Edge.
Soul Edge.
Oh,
Soul
Ooh,
Edge.
Ed.
the
Yeah, that's a good
OG.
one.
Oh yeah. She
It's
listen,
a classic.
Famco, bring back Rock. He is my goat. Bring him back. I don't want Astaroth. I want Rock. Because when they one time they brought him back, he was trash,
My
and
big
that
boy,
broke my
though.
heart.
I love my big boy Astaroth. He's so fun.
Astaroth
That's
is
rough.
good,
It's
but
mad
like
fun.
Rock is so sick. He's got the bear hood. He's got the giant axe. He was the only technically only American in the game. He was my favorite. And I don't normally play big bodies, but I loved Rock. But yeah, so I played up for I basically casually played like T1 through 4. I wasn't super involved, but I enjoyed. I was in that weird space where you're good enough to beat all your friends, not good enough to actually be competitive. You know, you learn enough tricks just to be all your like your
Were people
classmates out.
really competing like that back in the arcade days, in those times, in the dinosaur ages when you were growing up?
Dude, GTS, OFDP, all those guys up there in the central New York and Buffalo area. Yeah. Zach doesn't remember this. I was, because he's older than me. OFDP, legendary player, by the way. You know, my goat. Basically, I remember going to the arcade, and he doesn't remember. He introduced himself to me. I was waiting to get on another game. I think Time Crisis or something. And so he hopped on Tekken 3 with me.
Time Crisis.
And
Sorry.
yeah, Time Crisis.
You're activating me, bro.
Bro, I'm telling you, like, arcades were different, man. It's one of my loves. But I was waiting to play another game, and I was playing Tekken, I think Tekken 3, and that's where I first started playing Hwarang, Tekken 3. And he was playing with me. OFDP wouldn't let you win, but he'd always make sure you learned something.
Okay.
And I learned how to get up, which was a game changer for me. You know, when you learn, like, actually, you know, you're on the floor options, like, he, again, didn't let me win. Got to earn that. But I would always learn something, you know, and you'd always beat me, and then I'd go play my other game. But that kindness kind of stuck with me. And that when I do my stuff now, I always remember that, and that's how I try to be with other people. You know, I want you to learn something. I want you to have a good time. I may not give you I'm not giving you the free win, but you're going to learn something. I want to get you, I want you to get hooked.
Yeah.
But point being, I played in the arcades a bit. I played up to T4 casually. And then I kind of switched to like Counter-Strike and doing a lot of, because I got into PC gaming pretty heavy at that point. And I started doing Counter-Strike. I started doing, I did Rainbow Six Vegas. I actually played I played Rainbow Six Vegas 1, Team Survival MLG.
The heroine of shooters.
Yeah. It was like crack. I loved it. But I did that for years, and I did CS for a long time. And eventually I just kind of got burnt out on it. And as I got older, I ended up getting a job down in New York City. So I moved from upstate down to here. And T7 came out on PC. And I was like, man, I wonder how much of this I actually remember.
Yeah.
Turns out a lot of T4 knowledge doesn't really transfer over. There was a bit of a gap between my knowledge. So I basically was like starting it around, step one all over again. And I mean, from there, it was like I just wanted people to play with. And since I grew up in arcades and I grew up offline, I wanted to play with people offline. Listen, netplay is fun. Netplay is great. And it's a boon to everyone that has it, But I see fighting games for me as more of a social activity than a competitive one.
Yes.
And I want to win. Don't get me wrong. I want to do well. I want to learn my combos. I want to be able to listen. I won my one game at Mastercup. I'm not a fraud, but I'm also not delusional enough to think I'm getting out of pools at some of these more stacked tournaments. But I wanted a space to play Tekken, and when I was like, I refuse to believe that in New York City nobody plays this game. You know? Like, because I'm not entirely unfamiliar with the concept of like organizing my own or going and finding organized events. CS does it all the time. I've done LANs on here, hauling my PC around. It's not fun. Then again, consoles, not much better.
Yeah.
But so I found about iFix Arcade, shout out to Haya and the VF crew over there and the retro scene there. And I was just like, hey, I'd go there for casuals and stuff, really, because he had a bunch of cabs with like, USB ports. You could just play whatever you wanted. And, he was like, yeah, if you want to run stuff, let's, you don't have to pay anything. Just run stuff. And I'm like, sick, awesome, great. And I did. I ran about 11 tournaments. I was still very new. I random seeded my first 2 tournaments, and that did not go over well with the players.
Joey says that random select could be good for tournaments.
You know what? Joey was in Buffalo. Joey wasn't in the city, so I didn't have anyone in my corner. Okay,
tell him.
All right, I'm not against random seed. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, like for a local, I get it. You don't want Fab and GM playing each other round 1. Actually, it was Fab and Bloodhawk playing each other round 2 that got me in a little trouble over that.
But other than the spectacle, why else would you care? Other than the spectacle.
That's true.
True. But you know what? Again, I was new. No one really gave me like a lot of grief for it. They're like, look, we're just happy to have somewhere to play because at that point Next Level had not been doing Tekken and NLBC on the Wednesdays for a while, since release. So really, it was just me pretty much.
Yeah.
And I kept doing that for about a year until, unfortunately, iFix had to close. You know how hard it is to run an arcade these days, unless you're like a round one where your ticket machines are bringing in bank, or you got a bowling alley and a bar to back it up.
Yeah.
If you go to some of these venues, like the kitchen and bars where they make their money, not the arcade cabinets.
Yeah, you ain't wrong, because the place literally by our local is a bowling alley that has an arcade in it. So
Yep.
it's funny. It's funny you say that.
Yeah. So basically after that, I talked to Henry at Next Level. They gave us a home for the monthlies, and that's basically how it's been ever since. We ran that big 115 player monthly. We had players like Arslan and Saint come by.
Yeah.
I never did anything to really toot my own horn.
To
Yeah,
your own horn. That's what you're here for.
Yeah, please do.
If Fox, you know me, I don't have such an ego that I feel the need to
No.
gas myself
No.
up.
That's valid.
That's
I'm
why I have
very
you
lucky.
here. I'm forcing you to do this out in public right now.
It's dragging me out and saying, say
Yes,
nice
sir.
things about yourself. Take the compliment. And I'm like, never.
You heard it here first, folks. Foxhound, the menace.
Serial glazer.
It's true.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, basically, Next Level was our home, and some ECT asked me to work for them, which led to me working for EVO. And it's snowballed, man. I didn't really go into this stuff thinking like, man, I really hope I get to work EVO one day. I was just like, man, I just want a place to play my game, and that's where it starts. That's where it ends. I just want to do dope shit.
Yeah, it's so much more special too when as you were saying that you got you want people to get hooked, like you yourself, not just the event. And I feel like it's so much more special. It is special going to an event and because of that event getting hooked, but I feel like there's a little bit more seasoning in the specialty when someone got you hooked,
Yes.
it creates that eternal bond, forever, that like, this person, got me to continue doing this, or because of Foxhound I wanted to keep doing commentary and stuff like that. So it's like it's great. It's such a good feeling.
Yeah, I feel like there are so many people from our Tekken 8 scene. When Tekken 8 started, I told everybody, I said, I want everybody in the Discord. I want everybody connected. I'm trying to get as much new player retention as I possibly can. And now some of those new people, they saw that. They saw that we wanted to keep these guys hooked. We wanted to support them. We wanted to make them feel good about themselves. And they're some of like the strongest members in the scene right now. And that may be because they didn't get burnt out on Tekken 7 back in the day, like some of the other Tekken 7 veterans. But even those guys that, Battery, the double fisted sister, as I call her, she got hooked by playing games with me and Juicy Game Night. And then we would hook up on the weekends and play first to 50s and stuff, because she lived 7-minute walk away from my place. And we just hooked each other, and we never gave up after that. We just got leveled up, and we kept that family unit together. And Helst, it's so much more special hearing it from you, because it's not just that you went to an event and got hooked an event. You went to a place and said, where the hell are the people that play my game? And you said, I'm going to make a place for people to play my game. And then you stuck with it, and you gave other people the ability to make those connections. And it really is all just people don't think that you can do it all as one person, but all you need is a little bit of drive, and I guess living in New York, a little bit of cashola, a little bit of connections as well. Next Level Battle Circuit, that's a pretty big event space. I've never gotten the chance to be there, but I hear great things about it.
Big in like reputation. Physically, it's not that big a space.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
listen, I want to temper your expectation. If you're going from like Juicy to like Next Level has it's so much history there, and it's such a cool, dope, grassroots space. but like we did a 115 man bracket. We had 23 setups. We had setups in the basement. You know, like it was a packed house. You were shoulder to shoulder, but at the same time, that's the vibe like Chinatown Fair and those old arcades had, was just you were in the pit. You were just with shoulder to shoulder. You know, when I remember if I was getting someone's getting comboed, they'll chicken wing the elbow out a bit and start bumping their neighbor to try to get him to drop the combo. Like that's a real thing that these kids have not grown up with, and that shows some days. You know, like they haven't, like you haven't, like they're like, oh, I don't want to see dead buttons. I don't want to hear. I need headphones. I'm like, brother, you were lucky if your 2-button worked consistently on a given day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you should be grateful that like you can use a hitbox now. You can use whatever controller you want instead of whatever lever they just happen to have in the cab. You know, like if you were on the T5 cabs with the PS2 controller ports, people put gum in that so you couldn't use your controller.
Crazy.
Like,
that is insane.
It was Struggle City out there for a while. Like these kids don't know. Also, for the record, while yes, I wanted a place to play was a big part of it. What really got me back was I played G7 online with some friends, and a friend of mine was beating my ass with Leo, and I got so mad about it that I said, I'm going to learn this game, and I'm going to make it so that you never beat me again. And you know what? They can't beat me anymore.
That's exactly what it is, bro. That's exactly what happened to me. I had a homie that played Paul, Tekken Tag 2. I got beat with 2 counter hit death fists at the beginning of the round. That's it. All it took, 2 counter hit death fists. And I was like, this is never happening ever again. And now they can't beat me anymore. So
yeah,
that could be you.
Yeah, man, it's not gonna be me. Trust me. I got hit with some dirty Yoshi tech last week, and I was like, you asshole. But I ain't beating that though. Ain't no way I'm beating that.
Fight is a hell of a motivator, man.
Man, it really is. But as Foxhound was saying, right? He's never been to New York. I've never been to New York. New York is actually one of my bucket list places to visit, let alone go to a local over there. And, you know, the history behind, like, the New York FGC, man, is insane, right? So, you know, there's people out there like, yipes. I believe Justin Wong was in the New York scene for a long time. You know, right now, like, Idom, yourself, you know. But specifically for Tekken, right, what has made Tekken such, like, a big staple for like, I would say the country, but the world included. Like, what makes it so special? Like, what makes it such a special cornerstone to go to New York and compete in Tekken and vibe with the people out there in Tekken?
You know, I don't think it's just Tekken, to be honest. Like, New York is such a big place that whatever weird niche interest you have, whether it be fighting games or whatever, you can pretty much find what you're looking for. There's always like some small group of people that do what you want to do. In the case of fighting games, it's not so much like, oh, you know, we only play Street Fighter here, we only play Tekken here, we only play whatever. You know, when NLBC was at its peak, it's running 3, 4, 5 games a week. You know, at its peak when offline was really like the necessity to compete and all that. And so, I mean, Idom, for example, wasn't even a Street Fighter player when he started. He was a Marvel 3 player.
Oh, yeah.
He switched to Street Fighter later, you know? For Tekken, like, we sometimes run Virtua Fighter. We sometimes run, you know, Soul Calibur, like side tournaments. We run DOA. We ran a DOA money match. Shout out Big Dame losing 5-1 to Omen.
Big Dame!
Yeah, losing 5-1. He be talking big shit for Soul Calibur too.
He was talking big. Listen, well, I can give you the quick lore. There is a VOD of this grudge match, by the way. Basically, Omen and Big Dame, both Omen being PA, or Omen being Bronx, Dame being PA, they went to, I believe it was NEC, I can't remember which one, and there was like a 10-man Dead or Alive tournament, and Omen ended up winning the whole thing, but they were on separate sides of the bracket, so they never played each other, and Dame said, if I was on your side of the bracket, you would not have won this tournament. And Omen replied, I don't even play this game.
Damn.
Like that.
Not that I don't even play this game. That's crazy.
And so Dame was, you know, so I'm like, all right, Dame, let's settle this. 1st to 5, the holiday monthly, you know, I'll bring the setup. You and Omen will put this on stream. And Omen won pretty comfortably.
That's crazy. I don't even play this game into winning the game that Dame tries to champion.
right? And the whole place was going off. And actually, there is a VOD on the NYC Tekken YouTube channel. Be sure to check it out. But that's my point though, is that well, you got to remember, like New York, the heart of New York was Chinatown Fair Arcade. That was, like you said, Yipes, Justin Wong, L.I. Joe, Sanford Kelly, all these legends came through that arcade. And that arcade is very much a hallway. It is not huge. But, you played whatever was open. Like, when I would come, I grew up as a skateboarder, still skate to a degree. I'm not doing what I used to. I don't recover as well as I did. But when I would come down to the city for skate trips, I hit all the famous skate spots, we'd always stop in Chinatown. We'd always stop at Chinatown Fair. And, when I would decide what I was going to play, I'd have to make some, do a little bit of judgment calls. Who's playing what game? Do I want to lose that much money? Because remember, you win, you stay on and get to keep playing. You lose, you got to put more money up, And so, these were the kind of decisions I'd have to make. And so you played a range of games. You'd play Tekken, you'd play Street Fighter, you'd play, Guilty Gear, you'd play whatever they have. And Henry always made sure that we had a great selection of games there, and I loved it. But yeah, like, again, I think that stems from that arcade area where you played a range of games because, maybe you quartered up at the Street Fighter cab, but you were like 7th in line. So you went and played something else for a little bit, whether it was another fighting game or Initial D or Cruising USA, whatever, And so, I think that grew out of the arcade scene and into like going to Next Level or going to one of the other like offline venues we have here in the city and playing different games, even if you weren't good at it, and people want you to play their games, like Lunar Face just had their monthly this past weekend, and they play like 5 or 6 different anime games, and you may play only 1 or 2 of them, but now you have the chance to play with people who know how to play the game and learn a little bit and start dipping your toes, and you don't have to really feel like, oh, I have to commit and be really good at this game. You can just try it, play it with some people who like the game and can kind of walk you through it a bit, and have a good time. And I think that growth out of the arcades and into those kind of scenes for like Lunar Phase and TSB and NYC Tekken and the NLBC weeklies, there's no shortage of like opportunities to play offline and to learn from people. IDOM champions NLBC and the offline stuff. He's telling everyone like, go offline, go to your locals, because these are how you become involved in the community. Yes, you can play online all day and then go to a major, but you're going to go there, not talk to anyone, play your game, and then leave.
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, again, to me, fighting games are more of a social activity than they are about the competitive aspect of it. Yes, you want to be good, you want to do well, but only 1% of these players are going to start winning majors. Like, there's nothing wrong with having aspirations to shoot, to try and do well, maybe even if it's just in a regional or a local, or just to beat that person that keeps beating you and it's frustrating you,
If you're doing it by yourself, what's the point?
Yeah, it's a 2-player game. So why wouldn't you put yourself in a situation where you have a lot of opportunity to play different people that isn't just names in a queue on your screen? Like, don't get me wrong, online is a boon. It is fantastic, and I wouldn't have it any other way. But to me, the social aspect, the C in FGC is like the biggest part for me in anything, So yeah, I think that's why New York is just our population and the fact that you can find anything here. You really, really can.
I usually say, man, that Foxhound, whenever he gets interviewed or whenever we talking on the wall splat, he usually preaching, but man, you are spitting today, man. Jesus. Can I get an amen in the chat?
And you wonder why Fox and I, we said before this started, like, bro, if it's just me and you, we're gonna yap for like 3 hours.
Yeah, we did. But that's so just connecting with that, right? Like, I was thinking this morning, I was like, I don't know how I got to knowing all these people. Like, I know networking is something that you're supposed to do as a commentator and whatnot, right? But like, I don't really feel like that's what you and I did. It just felt like I don't even remember how you and I connected, bro. Can you? It just happened.
I remember.
Chicago Tekken?
I remember both. It was you and Spirit at the same time.
Oh.
That you both flattered me very heavily too, by the way.
Can we tell that story?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we were a little drunk, but not super drunk. It was
Hey,
it was the
you stop
time
it with that face.
when you had reached out to me previously. I'm sitting up because I'm sliding in my chair. You reached out. You and Spirit have both reached out to me previously to like ask about like running locals and commentating and all that stuff. And you weren't the first. You're not the last. But you're like, hey, we're coming up to ECT. You want to like grab a drink or something? I'm like, yeah,
Oh
sure, man. Trust,
yeah.
because I'm working ECT. I'm doing commentary. I'm running the Tekken tournament. And you're like, and I'm like, listen, after the day's done, I'll be at the hotel bar. You know where to find me. And you pulled up, and you definitely, and you both kind of asked very like softball questions. And I did what I did just now, where I talked your ear off for like 20 minutes. But you both listened so intently. You were locked in. Like you were like making mental notes. I could see the gears turning because you had just started and you were like, I would like, you're like, Lord, I've seen what you give to Helst and I want that for me too. And
Bro, I was
making
saying that about St. Cola, bro. Lord, I've seen what you've done for St. Cola. All you have to do is keep grinding and keep grinding and keep doing your thing. And yeah, that's part of that. But
That's
yeah,
how
I
we
knew
met.
I wanted
We met at the hotel
to
bar.
be as connected as the homies. Yeah, at the hotel bar for ECT. Damn, and I think Big E was right in the corner as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there was a lot of people there. This was back when it was still a little smaller, but yeah, like you say networking is important, and that's essentially what you did. But look at y'all are bigger than me now,
No,
which is good because I'm pushing 40 and I can't keep doing this forever.
All right, now you say those words, but we're talking to Medina. I don't know if you knew this, but I think you and I talk about it sometimes. We're talking to Combo Breaker game lead. Is this a EVO game lead for Tekken 8? Am I right on that? EVO game lead, right? Mastercup commentator.
Nah, yeah, you definitely got us beat combined.
Talk about
For
that
the record, I am now the EVO game lead and area supervisor.
Look at him. Look, he's just flexing. He's just doing it to flex at this
bro.
point.
And if you were, you would too.
I would definitely too. You ain't wrong.
I'm still shocked that they hired me for that stuff. I'll be honest with you. No, I do. Most of the time, like my big three things is I do EVO in Vegas. I do Combo Breaker, which I'm very grateful Rick gives me the opportunity to do that. I do ECT because Zach and Walter supported me with the expectation of zero return and have done so from day one when I was a nobody. So, and I've told them this, and I did do this, I will work for them for free because what they've done for me over the years, I cannot repay it in my lifetime. So I am happy to just help them in any way I possibly can. If they say, hey, we need a TO for something, I'll be like, if I'm available, I got you. I mean, brother, my closet is like a fifth ECT stuff. Like, look, I got it all, like I'm the number one shill out here,
I feel you. I'm the exact same way for Cream City, man. As we started Cream City, two years ago now, I'm the same way. So I feel you. And it's again just the importance as we mentioned earlier, right? The importance of that bond, right? That familyship, as people were saying in chat. It's like how you and Foxhound met, right? Funny enough, I actually met Spirit first, and me and him we're already like, oh, let's get a drink, just from the mention of, hey, me and you were gonna do commentary together, and then I meet Foxhound through the power of St. Cola, and even the first time we worked together was the first day we met, and from there we also clicked. It's just, I don't know, man. It's something that Foxhound got with him, dude. He got a charm, he got a good look to him.
I chalk it up to that Southern swagger,
Yeah, it's
Bro.
I'm a Union boy, blood through and through. I bleed blue. I'm basically South Canadian. He's got that Southern charm to him. Him and Spirit both. They got that Southern. They disarm you real like that.
Yeah, they really do. They just fall on you, man, and you can't help but catch them.
We like that.
Also, man, you said Mastercup.
Yeah, no, please tell me how. I really need to know what the course of events, because I remember talking to you about it. I was like, you were commentating Mastercup. You didn't even fucking tell me, bro. You just said you were in Japan. You didn't tell me. So tell me as much as you can tell me on air about how that transpired, even though that may be very little.
it's not nearly as glamorous of a story.
I do not give a damn. I want to hear it.
Shit, you got to be in a competition with the Koreans with Harada. Mike, man, you better glaze this story.
Yeah, so me and him are basically best friends. Me and Harada, I know, I've met his fit. No, I'm kidding. No, but no, like I go to Japan like every year. As I told Vox before this, I'm currently studying for my N2 cert. If you don't know what that is, that's a Japanese language certification. I do speak some basic Japanese. I know enough to, hit on the ladies and get myself into trouble, but that's about it.
Hell yeah.
But I went to Japan. It was a 2-week vacation. Basically, I was going to go for the week before Mastercup, compete in Mastercup, and then go for the week after. I was on Team Gaijin Impact with my fellow Americans and Guam associate. We had myself, Besteban, Esteban,
the
Besteban,
yes sir.
Content. Yep, Besteban, who carried hard that weekend. We had Aladar, we had Momentai, and we had Twilight, a fellow New Jersey, New York metro area regular. Who lives out there now.
Is that FT Twilight?
That's FT Twilight, or F Twilight, technically.
Yeah.
It's 1T. I was corrected on that when I was there. It's 1T. F Twilight. So, but yeah, so we had our little team of 5 and we entered the team tournament. It was so much fun. Because it's one of those events where everybody's there just for Tekken. There's no other games, So and it's such a because it's like a 1-to-1, like it's such an open tournament. Everyone's just laughing and having a good time and playing. And obviously people are competing to win, but like it's so much. I think it is my favorite Tekken event because the vibes, like, don't get me wrong, EVO is wonderful, Combo Breaker is wonderful, but this was just a pure Tekken event.
Yeah.
For the players, by the players, no prize pool. Shout out to the Twitch chat during the stream. So, what's the prize pool? How much do they get? They get a big old goose egg. They get a firm handshake and a pat on the back. You
get to win.
You get to win. Yeah, you get to say you won Mastercup.
And everybody came out there for that.
Yes, and so look, I had no delusions that I was gonna win the thing or anything. I just went out because it's free. It's free to enter, by the way. It's completely free. You just register your team and you show up, and yeah, it's Mastercup. Yeah, exactly, John. Mastercup was so much fun. This year they actually had some casual setups too, which was really cool. And then, so of course, me being the Gaijin that I am, I'm hanging out with the other Gaijins, with Obama and Zerp and Farp and all of that, and Brown Man and Twilight and all them, and Esteban too. Too many to name. We're just hanging out and just talking. And I found out this later. They needed a body on commentary.
So you were there already.
Man.
You were there already. You were already going to Mastercup, and they just happened to need.
They needed someone on the mic, and so I hopped on. With Brown Man. Brown Man's an excellent co-commentator, and because we're really just kind of the secondary English stream.
Can we? One second. Brown Man.
That's his name.
Okay.
He's Australian.
Brown Man, Ebonic Plague, they're crazy names out here in the commentary scene.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
You've never met Brown Man?
No.
That's crazy. He's
actually a good dude. Very good dude.
Love that.
One second. Dude. My cat is going crazy.
There.
He's getting into trouble.
Sorry, I got stuck on the nomenclature for a second. So
yeah, so me and him I did like 6 hours of commentary, but I found out the reason they needed the body was originally Markman was going to do it, but Markman lost in tournament and was tilted and didn't want to because he was a little salty.
I've been there, dude.
He's like, I shouldn't be on the mic right now. And mind you, none of us were getting paid for this.
That's reasonable.
This was all volunteer work, And so I hopped on, and basically they fed the Japanese feed to us minus, I think, the commentary track for the Japanese commentary. And Obama was basically running a secondary stream with that feed as the game feed. So we were kind of at the beck and call of the Japanese production. And they wouldn't tell us when things were changing or they were taking a break. They would just do stuff and we just kind of had to roll with it. But it was a much more casual, like when I work Combo Breaker, or I do comms at Combo Breaker, or I do comms like ECT, I kind of, I got my notes, I got my ad reads, I got all my scripts. You're
ready to go. You're ready.
Ready to go. But this was much more casual. We were just kind of talking about the games and talking about Tekken, and Obama also kind of emceed like op as like the production guy. You know, he would throw questions to us. He would just talk in,
The GOAT.
and it made it very almost like what we're doing now was way more conversational. And again, first to ones can go really quick.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to really go in depth on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, you
know?
can't really get invested really much.
Yeah, exactly. So my goal was more to talk about like look at the players, look at the path they took, what teams have they beaten with what players, and what, because you're character locked. So talking about like Watanabe had picked Azucena and locked in for the whole thing with it. You know, which Watanabe's played Azucena before, but hadn't really.
Yeah, that's his guy.
Yeah. So it was, you know, those are the sorts of things I tried to talk about. But again, because it was so casual and because I was getting very tired and a little silly, it was fun. It was a good time, you know, and not being having, you know, it's not like, oh, we're never going to hire you. You know, we're paying you to be here. It was like, you know, I'm there with my friends and we're just there to have a good time, you know, and afterward, you know, Gina showed up a little later and, you know, afterwards we stepped out to the Convini. We all got a strong zero, had a little, you know, kampai to end the night, you know, shout out to Obama buying the round of drinks for everybody, you know, thanked him for their hard work. He had to be back the next day for the singles tournament. I didn't go back because I was still on vacation, mind you. But yeah, like it wasn't, that was part of the reason I didn't really announce it. Like, I didn't plan to. I just kind of assumed that they already had that taken care of, and I was there just to have fun and hang out and have a good time and see everybody, you know. And yeah, so there was no. That's why when you were like, you did Mastercup, I'm like, bro, I didn't even know I was doing Mastercup. You know, I just showed up and they needed a body, and Obama trusts me enough to do it, which again, very grateful for that, very flattered. Because there's a million better commentators than me, in my opinion. But I like to think I bring my own angle, my own view to this stuff.
You do,
you know. And I mean, I did TNS last weekend. I assumed I did my yearly TNS appearance, last week. The day after I flew back in, I was jacked on caffeine. But yeah, it's Mastercup is such a special event, and Matsuda-san does a fantastic job running it. You know, even though it's not an arcade anymore, he keeps that arcade vibe by having the head-to-head setups. You know, they had some really cool production stuff. I have like top 8. They had the stage and then 3 setups, and you could see all 4 screens at the same time, and that was really, really cool in my opinion. You know, and same with like top 4. It was so sick. It's very much like for the community, by the community, and if you know me, you know that's the kind of thing I like. You know, obviously I can do the formal commentary. I can keep my script together. I can keep my notes together. But being able to just hop on with my friends and talk and yap and just talk about the game I love, you know, is huge to me.
He's a yapper, ladies and gents. Yeah, you talking about Mastercup made me think a lot about Oktoberfest a couple of years ago. For the Tekken community, by the Tekken community.
Same idea.
It felt so good, that event, just because it's just everybody knows everybody in that community, or have heard of them, and they finally get to meet them and stuff like that. And it's super great to hear that Mastercup was such a great experience for you out in Japan. You know, I know that you are running NYC Tekken monthly very consistently. I bought myself the year pass, the membership last year, and unfortunately the money wasn't what it was to be able to go up there and be able to use mine, but I definitely made sure that I supported that local and supported the homie. But I hear there's something bigger on the horizon, quite close to the horizon, as a matter of fact. DIY. Talk to us about DIY.
DIY is the result of a drunken conversation after EVO 22 with Bunch and Manny Blaze and Sway of TSB at the EVO at an EVO party I snuck into. Shout out to Sevi Black for getting for turning up the charm and getting me that wristband.
Oh, of course, you know the Hugh Grant of the scene.
Yeah, he got me and Bloodhawk in. You know, got us wristbands. So open bar was great. I have a little red notebook somewhere here, I think over there by my record player, that I have tons of ideas for tournaments, for brackets, for just novel things to do just because, listen, everyone loves their double a limb, but like we can do better.
We've done
You
it.
know, there's a lot of cool ideas we can really do out there. And I grew up, like I said, I grew up skateboarding. I grew up going to hardcore shows, punk shows. Like between video games and like skateboarding and hardcore shows, those are like the three pillars of my day-to-day life, basically. And I see skateboarding as far more similar to fighting games than most people think, in that it's a very individualistic endeavor with a very strong community of people who are all pushing in their own ways. Like whether you can do just a kickflip or you're, backsmithing 10-stair rails, like it doesn't matter. Like that community instantly clicks. It doesn't matter the skill level. And I think that in fighting games is very similar. Like it doesn't matter if you're first Dan or you're, GOD Infinity 12, Prestige 14 times over. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you've won EVO or if you're just a casual like player. You're all on your own journeys, but the sense of community of being involved in the same pursuit brings everyone together. And so DIY is my kind of homage to that, in that I took all the things I like about hardcore and punk and skateboarding, and it's like it's very much an ethos I live by, where if you want something and it's not happening, like you saw, like we talked about earlier with, there's got to be people to play with in my city. If there isn't, then make it. Build it. It doesn't have to be pretty or perfect. You don't need hell, I wasn't even going to have a stream for my first few tournaments. I was just going to run them. Like, screw a stream. I don't need that. Yeah. I'm trying not to swear. I swear like a sailor. Fox knows this. I'm trying to be a good boy. But, the stream isn't as important to me as the player experience. When I go to like a basement, I went to a hardcore show in Japan. It was in a practice space. Like, you're this close to the band, you're just surrounded by these people who are all there for the same thing, to hear this band play, or if you're there at the skate park and you're all just hitting this rail, you're all like, it doesn't matter whether you're just working on your basic tricks or you're trying to do flip in, flip out stuff. Does not matter. You're all pushing yourself to do something better, so that shared bond, that shared community was really, there's a lot more in common there. So when it came time to do, like, I had wanted to do something bigger for a long time. I did the 5-a-sides, a few of them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We love those.
If I had the budget, I would have got Florida up here so fast. Unfortunately, I ran out of budget. The sponsor, times are tough. Sponsor pulled out. Did not like that I used all the budget. But yeah, so I wanted to do something that combined my loves of hardcore and punk and skateboarding and fighting games. And so DIY, like, I always had this idea for these really cool trophies and this cool format, like having a band at the show, and I had all these notes in my little red notebook. And Bunch, drunkenly, he was giving us this, pep talk of, we're the best TOs in the world. We just did EVO, New York got the best TO. We're like the Avengers. And we're like, all right, Uncle Bunch, let's get you back to bed, All right. He doesn't drink now, but as I was sitting on the plane, I'm listening to said punk music. I'm just on the way back from EVO, and I'm just, as I do, I'm in my little notebook, and it hit me. The name particularly hit me, because DIY shows or DIY skating is not an uncommon thing, and it clicked that, like, hey, you had all these loose ideas, and they all kind of started to mesh together. I don't want to spoil too much yet, and the name DIY just jumped out at me as I'm listening to this song. And I actually remember exactly what song I was listening to. But I'm sitting on the plane and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. This is the idea because like, I want to do these ideas, but I don't want to just do them for the sake of doing them. I want it to like come together in a cohesive idea, project.
The package.
And DIY, couple of games. Let's get that Chinatown Fair vibe. Let's get that like, shoulder to shoulder, a little bit. I want it to be a little nasty. I want it to be a little bit grimy,
Okay.
Take the quality of life features that we've gotten in the years since, but let's keep that ethos and the idea alive of DIY. And so that's really where this spawned from, from the trailer to the logo to everything. And we kind of worked on and off since 22. So this has been a long time working.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard you mention a couple elements of this to Zach in private conversations with me.
Yep. Zach and Walter are very supportive of it, and they've been very helpful in like giving us advice because they've obviously, they do East Coast Throwdown, they work for EVO, they've done bigger and badder events, and we're just doing 4 games. We're keeping it very simple. So we've definitely picked their brains. They've been more than supportive, and yeah, I'm really excited for it. I mean, I've just had I had a meeting about it yesterday. I have another meeting about it today. It's a lot of work, but it's filling up fast, and I'm nervous, but I'm really hopeful we can put on an event that people are really gonna enjoy.
Hell yeah. Definitely showing that you are a man of the people, not just, your tournament, or like how you were saying that you had people who were like, yeah, we're the Avengers or whatever. You gotta love that vibe. It's cool to glaze yourself for sure, but also, you do it for the people. You do it for the people. You do it for the love of your game. Now, speaking of being a man of the people and having meetings and stuff like that, from what Foxhound has been telling me, you've done a lot of work with seeding big events. As you mentioned, Combo Breaker, EVO, you worked for that stuff. Rick hiring you and all that. I know a little bit. Shout outs to my TO, Lizard Man. Pretty sure you know about him.
Lizard Man's my goat. Lizard Man's my goat.
Love Lizard Man. Shout outs to him. But
I used his random select bot during pandemic for a long time.
Yeah, I remember him telling me about that. Yeah, but going into that, right? What gave off from you to let them know that you were a man of the people, that you were good at seeding?
Yeah, how do they know,
and doing that for the people, right? Well, aside from your experiences of random seeding when you first started.
I'm still not above doing that. I mean, I don't know. See, that's the thing. Like I told you earlier, I'm not big on I don't have an ego. I don't stake myself as God's gift to TOing or God's gift to commentary. I always consider myself as someone who is learning at all times because there's always more to learn. And so I think what it was, and I can tell, I think where I think it started was I did the monthlies and I did them for me and no one else. I'm fiercely independent. We don't usually have a ton of sponsors, and if they do, they're all sponsors that are endemic to the community. And trust me, I've had sponsors reach out to us before, and I'm like, this isn't the right fit. It's just doesn't really fit into what we're trying to do here. So and then look, I'm not above just taking the money for the sake of the money, but it's I like to think that because I try to stay endemic and true to what we do, that's what people see. I don't pretend to be something I'm not. I don't pretend to be all knowledgeable about the game. I don't pretend to be the best TO in the world. I mean, I'm always flattered. There's always 10 people behind you waiting to step up in your place. And, so I think what it was when I can tell you the story of how I met Zach and Walter originally, because ECT is really where it started. I went to ECT in 2018 and I did the bundle with their little Sagat and Ryu shirt. And they never sent it to me. I just reached out to support, like, hey, I pre-ordered this. Here's my receipt. I didn't get the shirt, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, sorry about that. We'll send you one. No problem. They sent me the Nightmare hoodie. I already have the Nightmare hoodie. I have 2 of them. I gave one away because I had 2 of them. Like, I don't need 2. So I was like, you sent me the hoodie. You didn't send me the shirt. They're like, oh, well, you're in New York, right? Come to the Manhattan office. Our Manhattan office, and we'll get squared away. I go to the office, introductions, hi, nice to meet you, and they gave me another Nightmare hoodie
in person.
I was like, brother, please,
they're making it a nightmare for you.
Me. Yeah, and they're like, oh shit, our fault. And they're like, wait, you're the guy that runs the New York City Tekken stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I do. I didn't think anyone knew about me because I really didn't. Again, just doing my thing, staying in my lane, not really worrying about the rest of the greater FGC world because I'm like, no one notices little old me. I don't really care. And they're like, hey, you're doing some great work. It's nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. It was great. A couple weeks later, Zach's like, hey, we're going to you remember Red Bull Conquest? I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. I have my Red Bull Conquest, my Guile shirt that I stole from Vector Spectre. I launched over him in that set. That was our first meeting ever. We didn't even know each other then. But yeah, 2019.
So Zach was going down for that, and he's like, "Hey, were you planning to go?" And I was like, "No," because again, just doing my thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Sure." So he offered me a ride, and so him, Bloodhawk, and me all drove down together. And on the way down, Zach and I got to talking, and he was like, asking about the tournaments I was running, and I'm like, yeah, man, it's just tough because I have to borrow a ton of consoles from other people, like it's just I'm being stretched thin, and I'm just doing my best, but it's tough in these streets, you know what I'm saying? And so he's like, you know what? I might be able to help you. He gave me 8 PlayStation 4s with copies of the game to basically use indefinitely. And he's like, look, these are ECT consoles. Just keep them patched, take care of them, and bring them to ECT when it's time for the tournament.
What a guy.
And so I never had to ask people to bring consoles again. And
amazing.
He did. This dude did not know me like that. And he gave me probably like $1.50 worth of consoles, which I still have in a bin behind me. And that faith in me, and then he sponsored our event a couple of times for like, hey, he gave me a promo code for Reg. He gave me, saying like, hey, run this ad, use this code to give discounts to people. Also, we're going to give away a Reg at your thing, and also a pop bonus to run the ECT stuff.
Oh man, was coming in clutch for you.
He did a lot with
support.
Zero expectation of return. And because of that, like, I gave him everything I could. I would shill #1 for them. I would tell everyone to go to ECT. I would go to the event myself and work, and I'd do it for free if he'd let me. He doesn't, which, again, speaks to the character of Zach and Walter.
Yeah. Don't let your friends work for free.
Yeah.
Couldn't give you that shirt, though.
Yeah, I have the shirt. It's in my closet. I have the shirt now. They did get it to me. But from there, I think once Zach and Walter knew me and they saw the work I could do and they saw like that I was capable of handling myself, when I was going to go to my first combo breaker, I applied just to do like bracket running, really nothing crazy. Cause I'm sure Rick's got his own team. I'm not that stressed about it. Rick asked me then, he's like, hey, would you be interested in just being like our game lead for Tekken? And I'm like, oh, I mean, yeah, if you need one, sure, no problem. And then because it's a mess. So here, I'm not sure if you're familiar with how commentary works for Tekken World Tour events, master level events. Because it's on the Tekken channel, Bandai Namco is in charge of selecting the talent for the stream, and they have their own little white list that they pick from, which is understandable. You have to sign NDAs, you got to sign agreements, basically like I'm not going to disparage Bandai Namco while I'm talking on stream, stuff like that. So now my father always taught me, you apply to everything and you let them say no, because if you don't ask the question, the answer is already a no. Make them.
Your father was spitting because I need that. I need that in my life.
Yeah, it's like if you don't ask the question, the answer's already no. So ask the question and force them to say no. And so I applied for it. I never get it. That's fine. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But Rick asked if I wanted to do the auction tournament one year. And that ended up leading to me doing the auction tournament commentary every year for like 3 years running now.
Oh, yeah.
And it's something I really enjoy doing because it's a really fun format. And because it's not on Bamco's channel, we can kind of cut loose a little bit. As last year, we had Fox as our auctioneer / host for the evening. And we had me and Spirit on the mic. And it was the perfect trio to do that. And I thought we did a fantastic job. Actually, I took a couple clips from that, cutting up my reel that I have to put together for this year.
Same.
I know it was a vibe, dude. I heard so many great things and so much fun times about the auction tournaments.
It's a lot of fun.
$500 for Tekken 7 Akuma was wild.
Yeah. There's some crazy money going around. But the point is, I think once Zach and Walter basically signed off on me so that Rick was like, yes, you can do this. When Rick and Zach and Walter got in a position at EVO where they're basically picking their hires, they went with the people they knew that they'd worked with before.
Right.
So people like me, people like Bunch, and basically as long as you do a good job, it's our job to lose. And I thoroughly enjoy working EVO. It is a lot of work. They are leading up to the event. And then the day of the event, it's like 4 16-hour days. It's exhausting.
Yeah,
it is one of the most exhausting things I've ever done.
Oh yeah, I remember
Sheesh.
talking to Tong, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been here since Thursday last week working, dude." And
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, "Man, you gotta be tired." He was like, "Hey, we love to do it though." That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
literally his
that's Tong,
response.
bro.
Labor of
He
love.
undersells. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He'll never tell you how tired he really is, but
Oh,
you know, that shrug.
Yeah. I mean, so that's really, it's really just, I didn't really put, like, here's the thing, networking is so important. I didn't do it the normal way. I can be very open about that. I did it in kind of my own way. But networking is important. It's incredibly important, I hate to tell people to do things for exposure because I think people should be paid their fair amount. But this isn't my day job. I'm technically at work right now, by the way. That's why I keep looking over as my work email. But, but like this, very few people are going to be able to make this their career, their like job. It's very much you have to do it because you want to do it.
yeah.
And it's not for everybody. It isn't. Like,
Help-work.
and even then, the people that do this for a job, it wasn't a linear path. It wasn't like they just started playing games. Sure, there's guys like Justin Wong who were just really good at fighting games, but they still had to work. They had to make content. They have to edit videos. They have to go do hosting duties. They're traveling. They're being away from their families, their children. I'm in a lucky enough position where I don't have kids. I'm single, so me traveling on the top of a hat is easy. But it's tough, especially if you're trying to do that for a full-time job. Markman has a child, and he is for months at a time away from home, and that's tough. That's hard. I mean, don't get me wrong. He loves what he does, but it's exhausting. And it's tough when you're away from you're missing big moments in your child's life, graduating middle school, things like that, because you're out in Japan having meetings with publishers for games that you're trying to get at EVO, And so it's not even if you try to go full time in this, it is tough. It is unforgiving. If you want to do TO work, do TO work because you want to do it for your community. Don't do it being like, I want to listen. Everyone jokes about the big rich TO. I even make jokes about my NYC Tekken yachts, which, by the way, I up at my dad's lake house, we have an old canoe. I put an NYC Tekken sticker on.
Oh my god! You took a picture, right?
Somewhere I have it somewhere.
Okay, I need that whenever you can.
I tweeted about it like years ago.
Okay,
being like, yeah, just don't mind me, just going out in the yacht for the day. And I got my little canoe paddle and I was paddling out. But it's very much like you have to do this because you want to do something. Again, this is more social for me than it is like a financial gain. Now, obviously, I do my best to make this financially like sustainable. Like you saw Vox, you bought a membership last year. We have them again this year. We have merch. It takes about 9 months to do a merch lineup with our designer, and we do a new lineup every year. The newest one is great because you can buy a picture of me when I was 17 on it.
I bet you he looked good though.
I made that shirt for me, really. We've sold 3 of them, and one of them is in Japan right now with the guy who runs the Shop Bar Casuals. I love that dude. Niza is my boy, and he gave me strong zeros in return for it. But it's been a long road, and working with Combo Breaker and EVO is an honor. And again, I kind of fluked into it. I can't tell people that my path is a reproducible one for sure, because I didn't start this with the plan of I'm going to be the EVO game lead one day. Just you wait. I did this because I'm like, I just want to play Tekken with people. I want to see now I want to see my friends. That's really all I'm looking for. And I mean, you're asking how they learned, like, I could do what I do. And honestly, it's just by doing it. Like,
yes.
If you do good work at your local level, they will take notice. Mm-hmm. They will always prefer to bring up from within than bring someone from the outside, unless there's a specific particular skill you need. In theory, start as a bracket runner. Bracket runners get paid nowadays. When I was a bracket runner, you got a handshake and a thank you. Like, you can get like paid for your brackets.
Volunteer. Pizza over there, a couple slices.
Yeah.
Hey, I've volunteered a few times at EVO and Combo Breaker, and You get whole meals now. You get that volunteer room.
So much
Yeah.
better
That
than it used to be.
exclusivity.
Staff shirt now.
You know, the
Oh,
staff
bro, I
shirt,
would go
yeah,
places that I didn't even get a staff shirt. They told me I'd get a staff shirt, and I didn't get no staff shirt. You know, no sandwich. No, sorry. Anyway,
But the point is, you can start with your basic bracket running, stage managers. What do you want to do? Do those things at majors. People will, if you do a good job, you'll just keep getting asked back. So when someone like me eventually says, "Look, I'm old, I'm tired, I can't do this. My feet hurt, my arms are tired. I got to go to bed at 9." You know,
yeah.
they bring up from within. They prefer to take people that are known quantities that have stake in the game and are like, "Yeah, we know you can do it,"
And you give a damn.
Or in some cases, I've been able to nominate I've been able to deputize people and pick the people I want, and I pick based on people I know can do the job.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
And
So-
I mean, a really good example of that is like Sherry, right? Sherry Jennings, who did an amazing job at Capcom Cup this past weekend. So shout outs to her. She's a prime example. Just started off as a player, went to showing that she cared about the community, helping these international players get their visas, to travel, and then now they want her as a commentator, and especially within a year to be commentating at something like Capcom Cup is
huge.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is insane. So
Yeah.
I definitely get what you mean there, and it's also good. You know, as you're talking about, I'm thinking because these are words that I need.
His
hear,
wheels are
right?
turning like Spirit and I's wheels were turning when you were having that monologue, bro.
Dude.
His wheels are turning. Everybody
Hey,
who's
your
out there
mistake.
that should be thinking. No, go ahead.
Your mistake was that you talked to me at a bar and you got me liquored up, and that makes me yap a lot. And I'm like,
I
I'm
think
drinking
you
and
bought
I'm
me
talking,
the drink,
and
if
I'm
I'm not
like, man,
mistaken.
I'm thirsty, and I go get another drink, and I keep yapping. I go, man, all this talking's making me thirsty, and I get another drink, and now I'm 4 drinks deep, and I've been yapping about the same thing in circles for 2 hours.
These Hefeweizen are making me thirsty.
The
right.
reason I say it's hidden and I need that is because as an up and coming commentator, like I've had like Foxhound as a support system. I've had like Cola, Kaiser, because Kaiser for me is local, and same thing with his brother Lizardman. And I literally was not gonna go to EVO last year, and they're like, no, dude, like it's that push, right? You got that push. Inadvertently from Zach, right? And what was the other guy's name? If you can give me his name,
Walter.
Walter, yeah. So you got that push, and that's basically like the push that these guys are giving me right now. Is like, no, Medina, you got to get out there. You got to network. He was like, they covered my badge to EVO last year. Dudes that I only met a year ago, a year and a half ago, and they're like, nah, dude, yeah, like. You can't make it. We got you. We want you to go out there and we want you, but this is if you want to do it. And I was like, hell yeah, I want to do it. This is the only reason I've been taking up these opportunities that I can get. And I give it 100% every time because it's like that push and that willingness to do it. So I'm telling you, man, you preaching today. You preaching the gospel, and I'm receiving, man.
Brother, I'm a broken record. Fox has heard me do this spiel like 1,000 times at this point. He's just finally putting it in, like in recorded form, so he can just play it back whenever someone asks the question.
Honestly,
I'm glad he got me on here.
I mean, shoot, I only got into commentary because I needed someone to do it at my locals, and so I just did it because no one else would. And I'm lucky enough to have a guy like Bloodhawk in my community who can give me feedback, and he's given me some great advice over the years.
He's giving you a lot of great advice that you haven't taken over the years, yeah?
Absolutely. But no, having people like that and just wanting to do it is a big thing. And I know I'm not getting like Bamco whitelisted anytime soon. That's fine. And honestly, I think it's more because they'd rather have me as a TO because they need the bodies for it. And also, Bloodhawk said this best, like, don't be discouraged when you don't get commentary jobs, because you have a lot of people fighting for a very small amount of spots.
They've now been doing 3 people for an entire weekend now, so the slots
and
are even
that's
smaller.
Brutal. That's so brutal on the commentators, like.
But they want it, bro. I want it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I do 5 hours of Tampa Never Sleeps because I want it. So
I did 6 hours of Mastercup. I could have got up at any point and walked away.
And I know you would. Exactly. You get me out this chair. Try.
You know,
It's that grind though, as we talked about, because I've done 7 straight hours of commentary through Street Fighter on Jack's channel, and then uh uh Tekken on Kaiser's channel, and it's not easy, man. It's not easy, but like,
tired.
yeah, it's definitely tiring. All streaming, commentary, TOing, all that stuff is so much harder than like what people are like. Oh, I could do that easy. Like, it's not that easy, but like, so much love for the game that like you're willing to do it, right? You're willing to do it, and
Absolutely. It's definitely something you have to want to do.
Yeah.
And it isn't for everyone, and that's fine. Like I get it. You know, it's you got to want to do it. And I did TNS 6 hours, jet lagged as hell from Japan, cranking caffeine, but I powered through it. Definitely wasn't my best work, but I agreed to do the time slot, so I did it. My yearly TNS appearance, and yeah, I mean,
I always feel like too, even if you feel like you're not giving it your best work, I think it matters more that you gave it your all, right?
Yeah, whatever that is. Fair.
Yeah,
fair.
me-
Dude,
me-
that's a fair statement. I never think about that
me
sometimes.
and Foxhound, we recently had this, a little bit of lore for y'all. We actually had this during our last Paragon that we did together, where we were like, man, we feeling a little bit
It's like,
off.
something's
right?
not clicking in
Yeah,
pools. It
something's
just
not
wasn't
clicking.
clicking in ladder. We were just like off, just like by the tiniest, like
Mm-hmm.
we're out of phase with one another.
And that top cup break hit, and we gathered up. We was like, all right, man, this we could fix here. This is what we could do better. And I still felt off a little bit, but I feel like the fact that we were able to pick it up,
Yeah.
and we gave it our all, right? We put our effort. We actually put our effort into it, and it worked out a lot better than what we both thought.
Yeah,
Like,
it wasn't
we-
our
I
best
think we
show, but
both
it was
did
a great, but it was a good it was a better show than it was in the first half, for damn sure.
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
We locked that
being
in.
being able to like review your own stuff and find out where you can do better is a big thing,
And on the
I
fly.
definitely looked at my stuff back, and it's really, I can look at my old reels and be like, wow, I was awful at this, but it's
Yeah,
that-
I
it's
don't
that-
want to look back at my 2021 reel.
But yeah, I mean, it's I think networking's important. Putting yourself, just doing the stuff and putting yourself in front of people that are in those positions to make those, staffing or commentary decisions, and apply to everything. Don't be afraid to just throw your reel or your resume at stuff like.
Yeah.
Again, let them say no.
It's man, I'm telling you, you hitting the soul right now. My friend said the exact same. I'm sitting there in the group chat, and I'm like, guys, should I do it? Should I apply to combo breaker and whatnot? They're like, why the fuck not?
Why the hell not, bro? What?
If anything, they're gonna see your name pop up more and more. The more and more you apply, even if they tell you no, what you got to lose?
For real, that's exactly what I tell people.
Very real.
Just apply.
Yeah, and even like, oh, I remember this guy from last year. His reel was trash. What does his reel look like this year? Oh, this guy's getting better. Okay, let's go. And maybe you're not on for that year, but they see that you're grinding.
Yeah, no, seeing a name pop up a couple times, seeing it show up in different places that's how I got TNS when I flew out, when me and Fox are doing the mic down in
TNS 9.
Orlando, that was a lot of fun. And I definitely asked Tong, I'm like, is this happening? Is this happening? I want to go back. It was a lot of fun, And so, yeah, like putting yourself out there and I remember Tong telling me like, bro, if you want to do TNS, just fucking say something, bro.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's so cool to have those connections, man. I'm hoping that at some point I can get there, but it requires work, and it's work
Lot.
I'm willing to put in, and
Let's keep going.
like I said, I got a good support system, man. I gotta like having Cola, Foxhound, those guys, my locals, the people at my locals, they're all very supportive, and it's so nice to have that support system. It's not easy, as you said. It's not easy
No,
work.
but you got to have a support system for real, though.
Yeah,
you got to have.
when you
It
want
can't
it-
be you. It's community. Like you're not. Commentary is not a solo job. So
It's
you
not.
got to be. You got to understand that we're in that community together. We got the hot on mic people as well.
Yeah, but I mean, Helst has put it best. When you want to do it for you, and if you want it, it ain't nothing but light work. It's it becomes so natural.
If you
So
want something bad enough, you'll be willing to fight for it.
hell yeah.
If you build it, they will come. You just gotta do it yourself. And with that, let's give the people a little taste of DIY. We haven't gotten a chance to see that fantastic trailer. The first time I saw it, I was like, what the hell is this? This is amazing. So really, guys, if you don't know about DIY, we talked a lot about what started it all, but it is one game, one day. You want to come out and play Tekken? You come out for Saturday. You leave Saturday night if you want to, or get brunch with the homies on Sunday morning and fly back out. One game, one day. If you like Street Fighter, if you like Tekken, one game, different day. Let's check out that trailer.
Real quick note before you, oh, never mind, you got it already. You got no. So all I was gonna say was, I was gonna say I've just 'cause I had a production meeting yesterday.
Yeah,
Casuals for every game will be up all weekend.
Hell yeah.
we like that.
So the tournament days are 1 day each, but if you get a 2-day pass, you can get casuals all weekend.
Excellent. All right, now back to the main event. Okay. All right. 3, 2. Yo, amazing trailer, dude. Amazing DIY. I'm really trying to make it up there this year. I've got a couple of I's and T's that I got to cross, but I'm really trying to make it up there myself. I'm super excited for it, dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
like
dude.
it's the six event's gonna be sick. He notes to really think about all brackets are capped at 96 entrants. So if you want to get in, you gotta sign up now. 1 day passes are available if you only want to do 1 day, or you can get the weekend pass and come get casual all weekend. Full kitchen and bar. It's right in Bushwick. So in my opinion, what are like the top 10 pizza spots in New York is down the block.
Ooh, I do like me some pizza.
We like
Yeah,
that.
Artichoke Pizza is right down the block. Plenty of good food options, plenty of bars, as well as the venue bar, which will be there obviously all weekend. They have the full kitchen. Their chicken tenders are fire. But yeah, the big thing here, one of the ideas I always had for a long time back when I first talked about that Little Red Notebook was custom trophies. And to keep in the theme, and this is a reveal, by the way, I've not shown this to, I've shown Fox it in private, but I've never shown this publicly. We're going to do a full reveal of all the trophies later. All trophies are custom skateboard decks per game. This is the Tekken one. This is modeled after the Shorties Chad Muska silhouette board. As you can see there, we got our date on the bottom of it for DIY. First place walks. So this is, by the way, this is a fully skatable board. This is a real board. This is not like some Walmart thing. This is an actual board that we had custom printed for us. It will be given away to first place. We'll be revealing the other designs as well. No, this thing is super sick. I cannot wait for the winners to take these things home. This is, again, fully skatable. You just gotta grip the board, put some wheels and trucks on it. You could ride this thing out the door if you so desired.
Ooh, all right, chat. This man is cooking, and I hope you guys are ready to eat May 4th, baby. Cause oh man, them skateboards are sick.
Yeah, the custom skateboard deck trophies has been an idea I've had on my plate for a long time, and I'm really excited to get these to the winners. You cannot buy these. These are only available if you win your respective game. This is the Tekken one, obviously, but there's one for City of the Wolves, there's one for Street Fighter 6, and there's one for Third Strike as well. So yeah, if you want a chance to win one of these, you got to enter and you got to compete. There's no other way to get them.
Listen, I'm. This is complete glaze, but this is not a part of the script. I swear. Helst, I gotta put that up there with the Tiger uppercut shorts, man. The Tiger uppercut shorts was fire.
Yeah,
and them skateboard boards, they up there now. They up there, and that we only got to see one. I can only imagine.
There's three
how
more.
Cool the other three look.
Yeah,
So
they
sick.
all came out really good. The guy that does all ECT's merch is the one that did the designs, so he did a fantastic job. Yeah, these are real boards. This is what I want to make very clear. These are not just like some cheap little Walmart wood that they cut shape to look like boards. These are actual custom skateboards from. If you skate, you know who CCS is. They're the manufacturers who did all the boards for us. Again, you cannot buy these. You have to enter. You have to win. First place walks away with the deck. Medals are like they're these long bartender bottle openers, all custom.
Sick.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I want us to get away from the acrylic trophies. Like, they're fine and all, but we can do better. I want to see, like, ECT has the gold records, Tiger Uppercut has the Muay Thai shorts, the skateboard decks. Like, we can do better than just a basic acrylic trophy.
CEO's got a belt.
I gotta ask. Did you get one for yourself though? Did you get yourself one?
I don't have such an ego that I feel the need to give myself an award.
Hell yeah!
Oh, bro,
Man,
he
what a guy.
He put it together. Yeah, he just is gonna know that it's gonna be in the right place already. He knows that it's going to a good home. So guys, make sure that you let people know about DIY out in New York, Brooklyn. We got Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, and Third Strike as well.
Third Strike is on Arcade Cabinet, and it's a Jazzy Circuit point ranking event.
We like that. And of course, our homie runs the NYC Tekken monthly. If you're ever out in New York, you want to plan the time, go on Broadway with your girl, let her go see a show, and you get to go see a show yourself. NYC Tekken monthly out in Brooklyn. Might take a little while to get back there, but on the way to us talking about New York and us settling down on this conversation, I've absolutely loved having this conversation. You know me, I love my one-on-ones. This is like my favorite thing to do, period. Not even just in the fighting game community, but just in general with my friends. So I'm just so happy to be able to do this with you guys as often as I get to do it. I gotta ask you, Helst. This is our number one topic that we've been talking about on the Wall Splat Weekly Report. We have New York. We have Texas, we have SoCal, we have NorCal, we have Chicago, we have Florida, all insane scenes that are extremely strong in Tekken right now. You have game led for Combo Breaker, you have game led for EVO, and so I think that you are in a unique position to give us an idea of who you think the strongest region in North American Tekken is today.
Not non-biased, by the way. Non-biased.
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 I would say New York, but biased. I'd say New York. But so really, it depends on how you define strongest. In that, are you referring to like who has the strongest players?
I think.
Period.
I think that's what we're talking about.
Has, like,
but not the best scene.
Median average, like best scene, best median average of competitive level player. In my opinion, what makes a scene strong is how well you lift up the new players. Like we talked about earlier, the new player retention, reaching out to people, getting them involved. To me, that is the most important part of a scene, because the majority of your bracket is going to go 1 and 2, 2 and 2. Like that's half your bracket right there, just mathematically speaking. And, really that's going to determine, the health of your scene. I think New York definitely was a little bigger turnout wise in T7. T8 has still been very consistent, which I've really been happy with. especially as online becomes more prevalent. Obviously, ATL has always historically had a very strong scene. The guys at 404 do some amazing work holding it down and keeping those weeklies, those monthlies going and getting good turnout for them, from like the new players to the regular ATL players. Obviously, Florida with Juicy has an incredibly strong, scene for a multitude of games. Every time it looks like a mini major every time I tune in. It's super sick, between like the whole like Tampa, Orlando, like Jacksonville corridor, just a lot of strong competitors there. Carolina's been on the up and up. The IFM stuff's been really good.
Absolutely.
Texas is, while a little spread out because it's such a big state, still has a lot of strong players, even if they don't always are. If they're even not always able to get together offline. Obviously, the Midwest, Medina knows, like, always been very strong in Tekken, but whether it's Cuddle or Shadow or Junior or anyone else, Kaiser, anyone else out there, lots of very high level players. The turnouts at your locals are really good.
Yeah.
And you have stuff like Cream City and Combo Breaker out there, among others, that just make such a strong scene. And I want to give a special shout out because California has been a little bit quiet for a couple years.
But now
Zuma has been doing a phenomenal job really organizing and bringing that stuff back and making interesting tournaments, and now he's doing his own little kind of like, I don't want to put labels on anything, but almost like a California regional, something California hasn't had for a long time, and he's really putting a lot of work into that. So he's doing a fantastic job.
I'd love to support that.
Honestly,
I gotta get Suma on, bro.
For sure. I worked with him at EVO. He was one of my TOs, and anybody I don't have to babysit is immediately great in my book. And I do not have to babysit him. He can handle himself perfectly.
The dam at Suma is like,
on top of that too, upstate New York and New England. I didn't completely forgot about upstate New York, Boston, the Buffalo, Syracuse area, hometown. Kang has been doing some amazing work. He's also worked EVO. Buffalo, obviously with Cha-Cha and them out there, have a fantastic scene. Boston just had their monthly. They Still Electric and Affecting them out there. And Halos, they do a fantastic job. It's the DMV tragically just lost their venue, unfortunately, but they've always had a lot of strong players.
Xanadu is gone, right?
Yeah, Xanadu unfortunately is gone. I'm happy I got to commentate there at one point. It was a great venue. But if I had to pick what is the strongest scene right now in terms of health, in terms of player caliber, I think it would be a close call between the Midwest and Florida.
Interesting.
Now, I think New York has a strong scene. I'm not trying to say New York doesn't.
Yeah.
But Fear is abandoning us for Vegas. What a jerk.
Damn, man.
And a lot of the old guard in New York have kind of like become adults. They got families, they got kids.
Prioritizing in different ways.
Yeah. So I think at one point I would have argued for New York. But this, like, nowadays, I think we have a new gen coming up, but they still have some time to develop still. But I would probably give it a good tie between like the Midwest and like the Florida, maybe Florida, Atlanta, if you want to keep that whole Southeast area together.
I would.
Texas makes a strong case for itself, but I think due to the fractured nature of like it being spread out, it doesn't help it. But that's just the nature of Texas.
The geography.
It is what it is. Geography works against you. But yeah, I'd probably say it'd be a close call between like the Southeast corridor between Atlanta and Florida and like the Midwest. Like New York doesn't pull like it used to, and I'll give it up. It's expensive to live here, and a lot of the old guard got older and moved on for families and lives and careers. And again, I get it. I understand completely. It's gonna happen to me at some point. But yeah, I'd probably give it between those two right now.
Well, you heard it here, Foxhound. Midwest up there. Let's go, baby.
Let's go. Foxhound up there too. I said Foxhound instead of Florida. That's crazy. That is such a Freudian slip that I did not mean to do. Oh my God. What a great conversation this was. Helst, thank you so much for yapping. I know you got to go and bounce out soon. Medina, any last words for our homie, the legend, Helst?
Nah, man. It's been such a dope pleasure to actually like sit down, meet you, talk to you. You've said a lot of words that I like. I actually do have to not necessarily consider, but that I have to take
gotta
on.
meditate.
Right. Yeah, a lot of stuff that you preach that doesn't hit the soul, you know. And I just hope that light of health can shine down upon me and work its course. It's a weird way to put it, but yeah, man, it's been so dope. I'm so glad we got to have you. I hope we get to sit down and talk some more. I'm definitely gonna talk to Lizardman about you, because that's what I do about anybody who messes with him, who likes Lizardman. And yeah, man, I hope we get to. We'll probably meet up at Combo Breaker. I'm gonna be there for sure. So
Yeah, I'll definitely make sure
I'll
that
be
connection happens.
I am.
Yeah, I'll be there. You know, again, thank you for having me on. This was a lot of fun. Like I said, you know, I could yap for hours if given. Think my work has definitely been pinging me a little bit, and I will get to them. I'm not too worried about it. But you know, again, thank you both for having me on. I really hope you can make it to DIY Fox. If you can't, let me know. Grab your shirt at the very least.
I'm trying to be there, man.
Yeah, you know, thank you for having me.
Hell yeah. I'm so happy that we were able to do this once again. And this has been another version of Fox Talks. We actually have another Fox Talk happening tomorrow with Trojan in the morning. Actually, I think it's around noon, so it'll happen right around this time if you're watching live currently. We're going to raid our homie B-Sun, the certain death Street Fighter non-Yoshi player anymore.
Right.
But he's the GOAT. I hope you all
evolved.
enjoy his vibes and his smiles. Thank you all so much for joining us one more time with Foxmas Prime and our special guest NYC Tekken Helst.
Thank you. Have a good night, y'all.